Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Monday, April 1st, 2024. If you keep an eye on the Julian calendar, it is New Year's Day, so Happy New Year to you. And maybe it will be a fantastic new year as it unrolls for us. I'm hoping. Well, today I want to talk about the fact that several states are proposing and even in the process of passing some trails in the sky legislation. Let me show you a compilation I've got, which it might be a little illuminating because I did include some legal justification for those acts of legislation that I hope legislators that are proposing these acts and are getting teased about it are aware of. So let's take a look at this compilation. If it interests you or you'd like to look at it in more detail, follow the Facebook link that will be in the video description box. Let's go. I say that and then there's a 10-second pause. Okay, on March 23rd, the state of Tennessee, which had Senate Bill SB 2691 and House Bill 2063, passed this legislation, which basically sought to prohibit the intentional injection, release, or dispersion by any means of chemicals, chemical compounds, substances, or apparatus within the borders of this state into the atmosphere with the express purpose of affecting temperature, weather, or the intensity of the sunlight. I think it's a very valid bill to have, especially since they're talking about blocking the sun. Anyway, similar bills are being proposed in Texas and Pennsylvania. Other states may join the trend. We're going to find out if they will. Or that's what our tarot question is going to be today. Now let's look. This legislation has received a lot of mainstream pushback in an attempt to shame the proposers out of doing what they're doing. Let's take a look at some of those. Here's a title from Source NM. Tennessee chemtrail bill set for House Circuit described as nonsense. That's real non-biased reporting, isn't it? Here's one from The Guardian, Attack of the Vapors, which, if you don't know, that's supposed to be very funny. Vapors is talking about having indigestion. Tennessee bill endorses chemtrails conspiracy theory. And here we have from Business Insider, a little less biased, but Tennessee is trying to ban chemtrails from planes based on, well, did I say less biased? Wild conspiracy theory. Well, here's the thing, folks. There's a US law that allows testing of chemicals and biological agents on the civilian population. That's us. Public Law 105/85, which was passed back in 1997, November 18th, 1997, discussed the use of human subjects for the testing of chemical or biological agents. Here's section 107(8). It shows some things that are prohibited, which includes biological agents on a civilian population, but then under exceptions. Okay, any purpose that is directly related to protection against toxic chemicals, biological weapons, or agents. Oh, also an exception is peaceful purposes for medical. That means they've given themselves the right to spray us with things. Therapeutic, pharmaceutical, agricultural, industrial, or research activity. So basically they excluded everything that is of concern for people that follow the fact that there are things coming from the skies that aren't just ordinary vapor behind planes. Okay? In other words, the US government can test chemicals and biological agents on humans for nearly any purpose they desire. Now, biological agents are defined here, and that means, wow, they can spray us with infectious substances, naturally occurring bioengineered, synthesized components, microorganisms, pathogens, infectious substances. Okay. Now, people say, yes, but you have to have informed consent to do that. Well, by passing this law and having it on the books, folks, we've already, whether we like it or not, given our informed consent to be sprayed. So there is a need to specifically say, no, not for my constituents, not for the residents of my state, not for my country. I would posit this. If there only is vapor coming from flying objects in the sky, what does it matter if you put protections in place? What does it matter? It's like having a spare tire in your car. For 999 trips, you don't need it. On that 1000th one, you might. Why are they trying to call it a wild conspiracy theory when there's US law that gave them that right? And they just quietly passed it and put it on the books. I personally object to the fact that just having a law in the books means that I've given my informed consent. That implies that I had the time, the ability, and the reason to go through a 1000-page document and understand all of the legalese. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox here. Now let's take it a little lighter and look at it with the lens of the tarot. Let's ask the tarot cards if this legislation is going to be successful and continue to gain momentum. And hopefully, as informed citizens, at least to the extent that you and I are now, that we know the specific US law, that lawmakers gave themselves the right to let biological pathogens and agents and synthesized materials and microorganisms be sprayed on us. Let's see if the legislation countering that is going to grow in momentum and in righteousness, which it should. Don't call it a wild conspiracy theory when they're trying to counter a bill that didn't seem to be in human interest. What does the universe want us to know? Let's find out. I'm going to switch the camera. You can watch me work the cards and we'll find out together. Okay, so we'll do a Kachina knife spread, just looking for insights and information with our basic question is about these proposed legislation that are coming state by state. Will they gain in momentum? And are there other insights or information the universe wants us to know? So there is a yes element to this question. It may not be a hard yes, but will it gain momentum? But I hope legislatures, state legislatures, get themselves informed. And again, you know, what's the big deal? If they truly don't exist, what does protections from them matter? If they do, they're vital. And opposing them almost confirms them in my mind. Okay, we have the Five of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Wands. We have the Seven of Swords, the Sun, and Queen of Wands showing up. Kind of a nice spread for the question. I'm going to share with you the insights that the cards are giving me, and then we'll look at elements in the cards that lead me to say that. And as I do that, I wasn't watching the camera. Let me move these up so you can see at least most of the cards in the display here. There we go. Right now, legislators that are proposing this legislation feel like they're having to kind of fight an uphill battle. They're willing to do it because maybe they're aware that that legislation, maybe they've seen effects from the sky, maybe they've seen snow that won't melt. You know, whatever is going on that has made them have the resolve to do this, they are firm in their resolve and planning to keep going forward with it. So kudos to those state senators that are doing that, states that are embracing the power in the United States of the individual states to establish legislation that works for the people instead of against them. And states' rights are supposed to be stronger than the national ones in the United States. So embrace those rights and use them. Absolutely. The recent past, Wheel of Fortune. So things are changing. They're losing hold of the narrative. If a simple tarot reader can come up in a snap with the legislation that gave them the right to do that, to do those things from the skies, then that totally blows out of the water any argument that it's simply a wild theory. It's not. These are countermeasures, not measures that are being taken. The Knight of Wands is where this central Knight shows up for the current events, and he indicates he's got energy. Okay, he's can be a little restless, so a lot of people are chomping at the bits to have this legislation pass and go nationwide. And the energy is there for it. The resolve is there for it. Looking forward, we're going to still, we being those who oppose the mainstream narrative, who laugh when we're called those crazy theorists. No, we're truth seekers, okay? Sovereignty seekers, truth seekers, that is what we are. And so the lies are going to continue, and they're going to try to get away with what they can. But look here, the strongest insight card and information card is the sun, which means things are falling into place. And again, it's funny, I said falling into place is what this is. We're worried about things that come from the sky and the sun showing up, but when the sun shows up in a reading, it's very, very positive. Absolutely positive. Lesser of the insights is the Queen of Wands. And that's a queen. She is an accomplishment. She's very intuitive, very, very wise. Got a lot of self-mastery about her. Can be almost brutally honest. So it is time sometimes to counter these arguments. Stop name calling. I'm basing my objection on a US law. You're basing your name calling on what? So let's get a few more cards, see what the universe wants us to know about this subject. So far, with 2 major arcanas, it's relevant. Got another queen showing up. We got the 2 of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. Okay, and then the farthest inside card's another queen. A lot of maternal energy here, and the Emperor. Okay, so we have another major arcana showing up. Percentage-wise, 3 is nice. It's not terribly noteworthy. Just know that when a major arcana shows up, it means that what we're talking about can't be stopped, pretty much. So the Wheel of Fortune turning here, saying the days are done. When things came from the sky and people laughed at you if you questioned it, those days are done. The success card of the Sun is beautiful. And the Emperor is kind of our white hat card. Beautiful card to show up here for our final one. Here's a little more what these cards are telling me. First of all, the 2 of Pentacles is usually about balance and kind of reasonable expectations. So I think right now we could look for up to half of the US states to take up this challenge of passing legislation that opposes having things fall from the sky for the purposes mentioned earlier in this video. And the Queen of Cups tells us kind of to use our emotional intelligence in the situation, okay? First of all, use our actual intelligence to know that if you oppose those actions of things coming from the sky, there's a good legal reason why you do. And use your intelligence, though. Don't get your expectations overly high. There's some states that are just too focused on other things to do it at this point, but about half of our states look like eventually will take up this. I'd like to see nationwide an umbrella legislation passed, but that'd be asking our legislatures and senators and congressmen to do something besides send money overseas. The Queen of Swords shows up here too, and she's our justice suit. So words and actions written and spoken. So again, there's going to be a lot of success and kind of a benevolent nod to this effort on the part of we ordinary humans to say, stop modifying our health systems, our DNA, our internal structures. Stop. You may have thought you had our informed consent, but you have no consent. None has been given. Okay, having something available to be read does not make it informed consent. Not in my book. So let's recap. Several states, Tennessee, Texas, and Pennsylvania, are in the process of considering and passing legislation that severely limits what can come from, be dispersed and distributed from the air over their states. The mainstream media is calling those possible legislation based on nonsense and conspiracy theories. However, we reviewed some US law that was passed in 1997, which actually gave the US government the right to do that, to spray us with biological agents and pathogens. And as long as they said it was for the better good or for research or what have you, you can look, if you follow my compilation, you can look at that law and there are links there to the law. So we asked the universe, is it possible that this hope for legislation on state levels to counter that federal, what I consider to be a travesty, is that going to gain momentum? And are people going to be enough aware of the facts that they can counter the attempts of the mainstream to say, oh, it's just a wild theory. Why do you need that? You know, you're pursuing something that's irrelevant and not necessary. Well, the universe told us, first of all, that while right now it's kind of an uphill battle for the legislators to get the idea of this legislation accepted and to have it move forward, they are not losing energy as far as being willing to pursue it. They are fairly well informed of what the facts and know exactly what they're trying to counter. The times are changing. There's people that are aware and they can back up. This isn't a conspiracy theory. I'm concerned because this law was passed in 1997 and it can be severely detrimental to my health and well-being. The near future told us that there's going to be an uptick of states that take up this challenge of what is injected in things grown in their food, as well as what comes from above that is deliberate. And ultimately, looks like we've got it. They're still going to try to push that narrative that there's only water vapor in the skies, nothing to be concerned about. Well, if there's not, then legislation countering other substances may be irrelevant, but it's there if needed, right? And why are they so opposed to it? If those things don't exist, what does it matter? It'd be like passing a law that no Bigfoot shall be allowed to enroll in kindergarten. Does it matter if you pass it? Okay, but I don't know. I think a little baby Bigfoot would be kind of cute. So anyway, that's it for this video. We explored this topic, and to those states that are looking out for their constituents and residents and citizens, I thank you so much for doing that. And I hope more states follow suit. And keep yourselves informed, people. Keep yourself caring, okay? We have to do what we can do while our reality is what it is, to have the healthiest possible atmosphere around us and ground underneath us and products available to us. And we can't just wait for some faceless somebody to do it for us. As much as possible, we have to help ourselves, and that'll help the cause for everyone. So that's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and your attention. For those of you recently who sent me some get well wishes, and there were so many, thank you very much. I appreciate that healing energy you sent to me. I picked up a stomach virus, and it's pretty well gone. And I'm so thankful and grateful. And I'm so thankful that I so rarely get anything to deal with health-wise. Other than an occasionally froggy voice, but you guys know me well enough to know that we work through that. So until next time, which I hope is very, very soon, I send you love and light and wish for you everything bright. If you're willing to receive it, it is yours. Bye.